Hello, welcome to Chef Richard's Kitchen. I'm Chef Richard Miller. Today we're going to make a pork roast with a barbecue sauce on it. And what I want to do is I actually want to make a blueberry barbecue sauce. And one of the things about pork is it goes so well with something that's fruity. You know, cherries, apple, blueberries, blackberries. You know, it goes really, really well. So I thought what I'd do is we'd make a little blueberry barbecue sauce in the first part of this episode, and then I'm going to film another episode right after that where we're going to make the pork loin roast. And so let's go ahead and let's get started with the blueberry barbecue. First thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to turn on my induction, and I'm going to start out with 4 cups of blueberries. Can you use fresh? Sure. Can you use frozen? Sure. That's exactly what I'm using right here. So we're going to go ahead and put 4 cups of that in. We're going to use a ½ cup of apple cider vinegar, a ¼ cup of packed brown sugar, about a ¼ to ½ teaspoon of allspice, a generous tablespoon of regular unsulfurized molasses, teaspoon of ginger, teaspoon of salt, probably about a teaspoon, it's kind of a teaspoon and a half of chili powder, and a ½ teaspoon generous of cinnamon. Add to that, what we'll probably do is I've got some red pepper flakes here, but I don't want to put them in right away. And I want to make sure how everything else is balancing out. Then we'll go ahead and put the heat in there. So, get out my year 1 potato masher. They're still frozen, but that gets them down. That gets them down in there, so they'll heat up a little faster. So this is probably going to take 3 or 4 minutes to do. So I'm not going to make you stand here and wait. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut the tape right here, and I will be right back. As soon as these kind of start to boil, we'll add the rest of the ingredients in there. Then we're going to have to go ahead and we're going to have to mash them down, let them cool, and then we'll go ahead and blend them. Cool it down again, we'll be ready for our pork loin. So, be right back. Alright, it's been about 4 to 5 minutes, and the mixture is boiling quite nicely. So what I did was, I'm now taking, I did a little earlier and I'm doing it some more, is taking my potato masher and we're just going to mash the blueberries. And as you can see on the detail camera, you know, this is pretty liquid now, which is exactly what we want. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put in the rest of our ingredients, and then we're going to let it boil a little bit. And if we need to add a thickener, like a little cornstarch or something like that, we can, because we don't want this stuff too runny, but then again, we don't want it, paste either. So let me go ahead and let me grab my little puppy tongue here. And we're going to put in our brown sugar, our molasses. Now remember, I said unsulfurized, molasses. This isn't blackstrap. For heaven's sakes, don't use blackstrap molasses. That stuff is the nastiest. Okay. let's go ahead and put in our allspice, our cinnamon, our salt, ginger, and our chili powder. All right. Let's go ahead and I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit and stir this in. We'll let it boil a little bit so the flavors all meld together. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to taste it, and we're going to alter the taste to individual preference. Does it need a little extra chili powder? Maybe. Does it need a little, cayenne pepper? Maybe. A little more salt, whatever. But that's what we're going to do, is we're going to take and we're going to let this all meld in here for a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to come back and we're going to adjust the flavor of it a little. So, once again, I'll shut the camera off. Be right. Alright, it's been a few minutes, and let's go ahead. I put the lid on just so I could simmer it a little bit. And now, let's go ahead and taste it. The sweetness component is there, as is the vinegar. But what I'm missing is I'm missing a little bit of the heat that needs to go with some barbecue sauce. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to add another teaspoon of chili powder. And I'm going to add just a few little red pepper flakes. Remember, a little of this goes a long way. I'm also going to add a little bit more salt. So actually right now we've got about 2 tablespoons of chili powder and about 2 teaspoons of chili powder, and probably about 1.5 teaspoons or 2 teaspoons of salt. And so let's go ahead and let's try this once more. Wow. Wow, that makes a whole lot of difference. But I'm not happy yet. I'm putting in just a little bit more chili powder and just a very, very small, this isn't even a pinch of the red pepper flakes, because we don't want it to be real hot. Because remember, pork is not, a very hitch in the face type flavorful meat. Pork takes on the flavor of what you're putting with it. So if we had everything done to make it extremely hot, That might be good on, it might be good on some foods, but pork, I don't think you'd ever taste it. One more time. Much better. Much better. The chili taste or the barbecue taste is there. The blueberry taste is there. You can kind of taste the vinegar in there that gives it a little tart flavor, which is good, but it's in the background. You know, it's not hitting you in the face with that. And the red pepper flakes are actually giving it just a little bit of heat. And I don't want to give it too much because remember again, this is going to be pork. We don't want a lot of flavor with this. We don't want the flavor to hit you in the head like hitting you with a shovel. We want it subtle, you know, so the pork will take on the flavor of it. I think we're right about there. So I went ahead and I turned my induction off. Let me go ahead and I'm going to let this cool down. We're going to put it in the blender. We're going to blend it a little bit. And we're also going to see at that point if we need to thicken it just a little bit. After that, that's it for the blueberry sauce. And we'll be going ahead and we'll be doing the pork loin. So I'll be right back again. Don't go away. All right, I let this cool down. And to me, it's a good consistency, but I just kind of like it just a little bit thicker. So what I did was I mixed in about a tablespoon of cornstarch and probably about a tablespoon of water. And I'm going to go ahead and mix that in. Now, remember that cornstarch won't thicken until it boils. It's boiling, and you can see it thickening quite a bit. Actually, I'm going to put just a little bit more in. Oh, much better. Much better. That's about the consistency of a good commercial barbecue sauce. I don't want it too thin, or when we put it on the pork, it's just going to run off. So this is about right. So let me go ahead, and I'm going to let this cool down a little bit because I want to put it in the blender. I'll be right back, and we'll go ahead and do that. And then I'll get set up, and we're going to do the pork loin. So once again, I'll be right back. Don't go far. All right, it's been probably about 20 minutes, and this has cooled down reasonably well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to pour this in the blender. And as I showed you just a little bit earlier, you know, it just wasn't thick enough. I wanted it just a little bit thicker so it'd stay on the meat a little bit better. And so I went ahead and I thickened it up just a little bit. So, all right. Now let's go ahead and Excellent. It's got the thickness I want. It has the barbecue flavor that I want. It has the fruit flavor that I want. It has a little bit of heat in the background that I also want. So, one last thing to do before we call it good, and that's when I make a barbecue sauce or ketchup or something like that that people will normally leave out. I want to run a pH test on it to make sure that there's enough acidity in there that it isn't going to hurt anybody. All right. It actually looks like about a 3.5. So that's right down there on the acidic scale. Usually you want it between 3.8 and 4. If that's the case, it's, you can leave it out. And that it is. So you're not going to have to worry about anybody accidentally leaving it out or anything like that, because it is stable. So now you can see exactly how thick it is. There's our blueberry barbecue sauce. Now, there is one thing that you might want to do, and I probably will just for the sake of it. Remember, Cincinnati is not too far from Bardstown, Kentucky, which is the bourbon capital, pretty much of the country. So often what people do with this is just throw a little bit of bourbon in. Now, often they usually throw it in while it's still boiling, so that way it boils the demons out of it. In this case, I'm just adding such a little bit, probably a half a tablespoon, that'd make any Kentuckian proud. So anyway, let me go ahead and let me clean up here, and let me get the pork loin out, and then we'll be ready to go from there. In the meantime, since this is actually the ending of the blueberry barbecue sauce, once again, let me know how you like it. I hope some people try it. I hope they send me comments on it, a little feedback, how they like it. To me, I love it. But, how do they think it is? Is it a little too strong, a little too hot, not hot enough, etc., etc.? Leave me a comment or send me an email at chefrdmiller@att.net. So, anyway, once again, thank you for watching. Thanks for letting me into your home this afternoon, this evening, this morning, whatever. I'm always happy that you allow me to be a guest. So, once again, take care. God bless. Remember that cooking should always be fun. And I'll see you next episode. Bye for now.